Hello, hello. Hey, this is Karen with Over the Artsy Moon. I hope you're having a great day. We are painting this today. May our home be too small to hold all our friends. So I love that sentiment, and I hope you'll enjoy painting this with me. If you're interested in getting this stencil to go with it, it's a two-parter. It is available from the stencilsmith.com, and I am an affiliate with them. I put the information in the description. Let me find a spot for this. And I think I'm just going to make sure we're good here. There we go. Yeah. So let me know. I'm going to just zoom in slightly here if I can do this without. Yep. Okay. That's good. Okay. So have you guys started thinking about St. Patrick's Day for decorating at all? This guy's a little cutie, I think, and I think you'll enjoy it. So what we're going to do is do the background first. So we're going to create these lines, and this is your friend. If you have never used painter's tape to make this wood look, it makes it so easy when you have some painter's tape. And we just need two lengths of it, and I'll show you what we're going to do. So take it, start at about, just measure it is what I'm trying to say, about the width of your door hanger round, whatever it is. And then just start like right about there. Okay, so we'll just put our first piece down and push that on there. As you're coming on, let me know if you are watching live or the replay. Tell me where you're watching from. Is it cold where you're watching from, or is it not too bad? Oh, you know what I forgot? Goodness gracious, I forgot the paint underneath. I got so excited about doing the painter's tape that I forgot that. So we're going to start with a heavy layer of the white paint. Let me just see. If you're coming on, let me know so I can say hi. So we're going to start. So just put this on the side for a second here. It's so cold here. I don't know about you, but not the most pleasant time of the year, right? But we will get through this. We are going to be ready for spring pretty soon. And if you're just joining me, this is what we are painting. I'm going to grab my 1-inch flat, get that wet, and as far as our paint colors for this project, I did have some white and black here. There's white, black, some white. Go ahead and pour out a whole bunch of white paint, a little bit of your burnt umber. Hi, Vicki. She says she's watching the live while you work. Oh, it's 32. Is that chilly for you? That seems pretty nice for this Chicago girl. And as far as the other colors, we're going to use black, some kind of warm beige. This one's actually called warm beige. So something that's a little bit, whatever color skin you want to do, something that is similar to the skin tone you want. We're going to use carousel pink, canyon orange, but you can use any colors that you have available. And then we're also going to use jewel green and citron green. All right, so go ahead and let's start with the white. Scoop up quite a bit of white. We're going to just give this a nice big coat of white. You know what? I should just pour it right on here. Let's not waste any time, right? Isn't it fun just to let loose with your paint? Who's with me? Do you love just playing with your paint and having fun with it? We want to have enough paint on here so that it is going to be easy to blend in some burnt umber in a minute. So if it's really dry like that, you're going to need some more paint. So we want to have enough paint, and I am going to start making my lines go across horizontally because that will help mimic the wood that we're trying to create right here. Oh, for Houston, yeah, absolutely, that would be chilly. Hey, Tamara, it's cold there. Mine is 22 degrees. Ooh, that is not good. All right, so this is what the door hanger looks like, and we're creating this wood texture look. All right, so I'm wanting to have enough to cover it. This is my first layer on this wood, so maybe I'm just going to really make sure I have enough. If it's got a little bit of that color showing underneath, it's okay, but I'm going to just make sure I go all the way across with these strokes and pull it as nicely as I can. It does not have to be 100% perfect though. Okay, so I've got a pretty good layer there. I'm going to take a bit of, while it's still wet, this is important, you take some of that burnt umber on your brush and you're going to just come on the edge here and just go all the way around. You're going to work quickly. Okay, you're just going to do some there. It's going to be so fast that you're going to have time to come back here. So you can't be a perfectionist here. You just have to do it and see how it comes together. So who's with me? Are you guys trusting that I can help you with this? Oh, I got a lot there. All right, I'll show you how to fix that. Sometimes I put too much stuff on and we can easily adjust it. I'll just grab a little bit here and put that down here. It never looks good to start. That's the thing. Sometimes we expect things to look perfect from the start. Sometimes we expect our painting abilities to be perfect from the start, and that's just not the case. I'm going to rinse off my brush so I can get rid of that excess. Actually, I'll just take it a little bit and just put some strokes on horizontally, more or less. Okay. Now I'm going to rinse that off. Oh, that's okay, Tamara. She says not a minus, but a dash. Sorry for the confusion. It is cold for Arkansas. I'm sure it is. Okay. Now, while it's still wet, you can just glide your brush across. Okay. Just glide your brush across. You're going all the way from left to right and right to left. And you're just coming across like this. And there are many ways to do this. This is just one way. All right. So I've got a lot of brown up here. I can fix that later. All right, I'm going to rinse off my brush one more time. The center part of this is going to have this stuff on it. So it doesn't matter if that brown doesn't go all the way across. That's fine. I don't want to accidentally click on my mouse there. I put it on mouse, and that would just be great. I'd be in the middle of a live, and then suddenly I've stopped. Okay, so here we go. And maybe I'll flip this around. That could be one way, or I can let it dry and then add a little bit of white up there. But I think that's actually okay. Just check your edges. Make sure you're happy with how they look. They should have a little bit of a darker edge just to make it that rustic look. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and let this dry. So we are painting this today. While I'm letting this dry, I wanted to let you know about a workshop that I have coming up. It's called Singing in the Rain, and we are going to be painting these two cuties. These little chicks are so adorable, and they make me think about warmer weather. It's always raining here in the spring. I don't know if it rains where you are. There's two options. You can paint it with just by using a tracer and getting those lines down, or you can, once you're signed up, you can get the 3D door hanger version. And this is quite fun. You can see you could paint the letters any way you want. And if you've already registered, let me know in the comments. If you're in my Artsy Moon Paint Club, let me know that you're going to come too, because it's included in your membership. And then if you sign up for the workshop by February 28th, you are going to get this cutie snail in your library, your website library, with my group. And you'll have that for a year, access for a year. Okay, so there will be replays for Singing in the Rain, so I hope you'll be able to join me for that. But today we are painting this little sweetie here. And if you don't like gnomes, you could just skip the gnome part and just do the hat, right? You could just add a couple more shamrocks around the bottom there, and that would be fun too. So I know not everybody loves gnomes. They're not everybody's favorite, but it's okay. A lot of you do like them. So that's why and he's kind of cute. You can see he's got the reddish orange hair there. But I kind of like doing layers and making them look just fun, And it's easy with the stencil to do this lettering. Hey Donna, she says, 36 here in Houston. Glad to watch you this morning. Yay! Great distraction as I begin to go through my mom's things. So sorry to hear about your mom, Donna. I can only imagine it has not been very long for you. So we are all keeping you in our prayers and our thoughts, because it's never easy to lose somebody precious to you. All right, let me check this and see. Getting better here. I think we're pretty good. Just a little bit down here, I think. Oops, I just scraped it. I'll just brush that off. It should be fine. All right, let me see. I think I will put this darker. Oh, by the way, I did put these little guys here when I was doing the edges because then it just keeps your surface. So these are just makeup sponges. Does anybody else use these? Let me know. And now, I had said earlier I was going to show you how I use the painter's tape to make the lines. Okay, super easy. So first thing, you're going to make sure you have it basically horizontal. Then rip off a piece about the width of the widest width. And then just come up where you want your first line to be. Okay, and you're going to place that down. And then you want to really push it down so it's got some good contact with the surface. And then I'm going to take another one, measure that one out as well, and put this right above, but leave a tiny little gap. Okay, it doesn't have to be exact. It makes it more interesting if it's not exact. Okay, and then all you have to do from here, if you have those two edges for this, you see the lines here? So these are the lines that we're going to create in between. Yeah, Vicki, the sponges work really well and make it really easy. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to rinse this brush off and grab a round brush. You could probably use whatever you want. This is just a medium round. And then I'm going to scoop up quite a bit of that burnt umber, that dark brown, and just come in here. Okay, so pretty easy. But I would keep your blow dryer handy because you don't want to take this off and then have it smear that brown unless you want to, a bit of a more rustic look. Okay, it only takes just like a few seconds to give this a hit with the dryer, and then you can take this one and bring it down here, more or less. So this way you're going to keep it straight. Okay. And I did have a little bit of bleed under here. That's okay. I can show you how to fix that too. So my brush, maybe I had too much water on it. It got under the tape, or I didn't have my tape pushed down securely enough. Hi, Erica. It's nice to see you. Okay, so I'm just putting this one next to this one, but I still want to see a little gap there. So there's a little gap there. That should be enough. So I'm going to do a better job now of pushing this tape together. All right, and then I'm also going to really dry off my brush with my rag or whatever, and then I can come in here. If you're just coming on, we are painting this cutie. It says, "May our home be too small to hold all our friends." And I feel very grateful to have all of you here painting with me or hanging out, because I'm sure you don't have the stencil yet, but it is available. I'll just set this here on the side, right on my rag. I won't throw it in the water. I'm very grateful to have all of you hanging out here today. Thanks for popping in. All right, then we'll just keep on repeating this. So we put this here, and this keeps your lines straight as long as you're more or less, lined up with the tape above. And then pull this one off. Okay, so you can see it got a little thinner there, but that's all right. If you were looking at wood on the wall or on the floor or whatever, it would have those variations. Oh, I think I forgot. I forgot to leave a little gap. And does anybody here celebrate St. Patrick's Day? I'm in Chicago, so I'm going to switch this around. Maybe this side would be better. It like curves somehow. In Chicago, they actually dye the river green for like about a week, and it takes about a week to dissipate. So it's pretty big, big event. They have parades. There's a couple. There's even a parade fairly close to where I live. So you can really get into it if you're Irish or you want to be Irish for the day. Okay, so here we go. I'll give that a little dry. Okay, just keep on repeating. And you could put them farther apart, but this way their lines are going to be more or less straight, and you don't have to worry about measuring them out or anything like that. I cannot do anything like that. It's way too hard for me to be I don't know, what is that? Like so meticulous. Like a lot of people, have you guys done quilting? Hi, Sheila. It's nice to see you. Have you done quilting where you have to have the perfect squares and shapes and everything? I tried it and I gave up right away because I'm just not that careful. I like to be a little messy with my art. I like to just let the spirit go where it wants to go at that moment. Okay. And if you just waited about 2 minutes, maybe even a minute, it would probably be dry enough to pop off here. Did I put it in the wrong spot? I did, didn't I? Oh, well. You know what? It's just going to be what it is. So we'll put this one here. Yeah, I put it in the wrong spot. Could you secure the ends of the tape strips? Let's see. What does it say? So when you pull it up to repeat it, the line will stay in place. Yeah, I don't see why not, Tamara. You could probably do that. See, I was talking so much, I have an extra line in there. That's all right. Okay, so here, I think I'm going to put, it makes it more interesting. I think before I came up with this system, my famous system here, right? See, I had different lines here. So that's okay. If some of them are together or farther apart, hey, we just figure out something else we can do, right? So we just figure it out and we have these little happy accidents and just make it work. So how would you secure it, Tamara? What are you thinking? And I think I don't have my tape pushed down all the way here, so it might bleed a bit here. But I'm going to show you how to fix that as well. And I have some bleed there. So bleeding is when your paint goes under your stencil, or in this case, the tape. Not the end of the world. It's much easier to fix something like this than with the stencil. So I'm going to show you how to fix the stencil if I make any mistakes. Well, I might as well just show you my little secret right now. Baby wipes is super easy when you want to fix something really fast. You have to do it almost immediately to pull off that paint. Look at all that bleed I've got there. Oh, well. C'est la vie. It's all good. All right, but I'm going to try to really push this down here. You could get new tape as well. And you could also use a lot more tape if you wanted to just have it all ready. You wouldn't have to have the drying time at all. You could just have more tape on there. So that would work as well. Donna, you are a quilter. Love to cut fabrics out of tiny pieces and sew them all back together. Well, God bless you, because that is like amazing to me. I used to do cross stitch though. I will say I was a cross stitcher back in the 80s, you know, when, I don't know, cross stitch was all the rage and you had to do little X's over and over and over. Maybe it was just something soothing for my brain. Sometimes I get to be a little bit of a worrier and oh my gosh, there's a lot of bleed. Okay, good thing I'm here to show you how to fix it. All right, throw this stuff in the garbage or keep them on the side. Once they dry, you could probably use them for something. Hello, everybody. Here's what we're painting. Deb, it's nice to see you. Tamara says, when recycling wood, the boards are never the same width. That's right. Yeah, if you're recycling like barn wood or whatever, you're not going to have the same width. So more, I would say that was a little bit more for me to be able to have them be this, you know, more or less the same width. Okay, so let's rough this up a little bit. I'm going to take a bit of white on my brush. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is flip. Let me see. Can you guys see that? Let me just move my screen over a bit so I can see what you're seeing. Oh, good, you can see that. Okay, so you're going to get some white paint on your 1/2 inch or 1 inch flap. Oops, good. Hi, Sally. Nice to see you. So flip and flatten, and then all you're going to do is just make some white lines. But right here where I had those bleeds coming through, I can just come over some of those. Okay, we'll come in with a little more burnt umber in a minute, but we'll just get some of this happening here. Of course, the bleeding didn't happen when I was doing it myself, right? Maybe a little bit, but I don't mind sometimes not having everything perfect, because is there ever any time that we are going to have a perfect situation? No, it never happens like that. So we just have to adapt and figure it out. So I put a little burnt umber on there. I'm going to flip and flatten my brush. I've got too much paint on there. Let me pull off a little bit. I don't want to have so much paint on there. So it's got a little bit more burnt umber than I wanted, but we'll just come in here. Maybe we'll come on the edge a bit and pull in if we need. And then I can come here, a little more white paint, I think. Let's just come here and we'll make some quick fixes. A little more white. And I might just see if this is where my hat is, honestly, a lot of that's going to be covered up anyway. So maybe I'll just focus on up here. I'll add a little bit more of that burnt umber here. I'll just tap it on, or I can slide it across. Okay, so you can just make this a little more rustic even. Just see what happens. You could rub it in with your fingers if you had too much on there. Just do your thing and then see what happens and say, okay, I'm done with this step, and then I'm going to go on. But I will just take a little more white and blend that in here. Now I have a lot of brown there. I'm going to let it be. Okay. You're late. No worries. It's not a round canvas. It's a 12-inch round MDF board. Okay. And actually I don't need these sponges anymore. I'll take those out of the way. And then the stencil that I'm going to use is from the stencilsmith.com. I am an affiliate for them. Okay, they make it really easy. So this is the first stencil, and then you're going to come on and you're going to be adding the next layers. Okay, so you'll see this is actually the first part. We'll do the hat brim there, and then this is the bottom part here. So the hat brim and the hair area. And then for the third or the second overlay, you're going to do the shamrock, the buckle, and the nose and the hands. Okay, so I like to do a little extra. Kathy says, how do we buy the stenciling pattern? It is going to be up in the description. Hopefully you can see that. And it is, if you don't see it, let me know. I think I can find the information. Last time I did a live with the Stencil Smith, somebody's like, just find it on the stencil, because I couldn't remember the size. So it's actually on the stencil somewhere here. Here we go. So the stencilsmith.com, use my code to get, I think it's 15% off for you, I believe. Okay, so 9289, and this is a 12-inch. You can see it fits right perfectly on a 12-inch, but you can get larger sizes too. This is just kind of fun for, oh, I see what you're saying, Tamara. She says you can just get this however big you want it to be. She says you have the 2 strips of tape in place. Add tape on both ends of the tape for the longest line on the round. Yeah, that would work great. Hi, Tanya. It is so nice to see you too. Okay, so glad so many people are popping on. You've already seen me make a mess with my little lines and getting bleed through there, so I'm going to really have to be careful not to have an issue with bleeding with my stencil brushes. And here's the main thing you should know about that. When you're using stencil brushes, you want to, they hold a lot of water. So they've got like a heavier bristle. Okay, these are also from the Stencil Smith. You can get really nice ones there. These are heavier bristles, so they hold a lot of water. And if you dip your brush into the water before you start stenciling, it's not going to work out great. You are definitely going to get bleed under. I think that was what was wrong with mine in the first place, because I had dipped my paintbrush into the water and it soaked up that water, even though it's just a regular paintbrush. But these were going to hold a lot of water. Okay, so I grabbed a variety of stencil brushes. You do have to use a lot of brushes when you're stenciling because you don't want them to be wet. So if you're changing color, it's just easier to grab a new stencil brush and then clean them up later. All right, so let's go ahead and start working on our first layer. And I would recommend taping this down, just one at the top and one at the bottom. And so just kind of look at the lines there and try to line up the lines that you did with your words. I'm taking a look. Oh, sorry, not exactly. I'm just trying to see the line if it's straight, but I do want it to be secured at the top. And then I'll just look here. Does that look pretty straight to you guys? I think we're pretty good. If I look at this line right through the middle, should be good. I didn't say how much they are, Tanya, but they are, I think for this one, it's like 18, but then you get that discount. And you can reuse it. You could make a bunch of these for gifts, for friends, whatever you wanted to do. All right, and just if you came in late or you're just popping in now, I'm having an event. It's called Puddles and Paint. We are going to be painting these two little chicks. You could do the 3D door hanger if you want, or you can paint it on a wooden round just like I'm painting today with tracers, and you can use carbon paper to trace the design on. And then if you sign up for the workshop by the 28th, you will get this little guy in your library. So you'll get to paint our rainy day snail as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to grab my biggest brush right now, and we're going to pour some of our green. So we might as well pour out all of our colors. I'm going to grab my jewel green. You need quite a bit of the green. We're going to grab some citron green. You guys have a favorite? A little bit. Oh, Sally got me. She's like, a little more to the left. No, to the right. Just kidding. It's perfect. You are so funny. That's hilarious. Love it. Pour a little bit of black. Where should I put it? Okay, I'll put it right there. We've got some white on there still. We don't need our burnt umber. And then for our other colors, we're actually going to use a little gold. I think I forgot to mention the gold. You could use any gold that you have. Actually, I like the Extreme Sheen 24 karat. I think that's my favorite, so I'm going to use that instead. Then I've got Carousel Pink, Warm Beige, and Canyon Orange, but I'll wait to pour those. Okay, who's ready? Ready? Okay, grab your biggest brush. Do not wet it. You're going to take some of that jewel green, okay, and just get that into the bristles, and then take just a tiny little corner. Can you see just a tiny little edge of the black in with your dark green? You could use any green that you have. It does not have to be what I'm using. Okay, so I'm just getting it to be a different color than what I'm seeing there. So just add that black gradually, and then just come to the bottom here. And I usually say offload, but there's a big space in the middle here to offload my paintbrush. So I'm just putting the color right in the middle and making these little swirling motions. Okay, and then it shouldn't have too much paint on it at this point. So I'm going to go a little lighter here, go a little more lightly. So I'm hardly getting any paint on there, but that is going to stop it from bleeding under the stencil. That's going to stop you from having to have one of those oops moments where you have to quickly wipe it off. And that does happen from time to time. You get, focused on something else, and it's all right. Yes, Vicki, there will be a replay of this for 30 days. There's new Facebook rules, not rules, but for live sessions like this on our regular pages, we will not be able to keep them longer than, 30 days, I believe. After 30 days, they will take those off. Okay, once you've got that first layer there, you can add just a little bit more. And actually, I'll take some more green and get a little more of that black to get my first layer a bit darker. So yeah, you can still watch the replay here for 30 days. And then I do have a YouTube channel. I'll try to put it on there as well. So have a good day at work, Vicki. Okay, so you can keep on swirling, but at this point, it's starting to feel a little tacky. So I'm just going to start tapping it on there. It's going to feel tacky if it starts to dry. We don't have to worry about it being perfectly blended or anything. It makes it more interesting. Take just the regular green now. It makes it more interesting if you mix up your colors a bit and see different variations of the color. So I'm just tapping on now because I already have that first layer, so it sort of creates a border at the edge, so you shouldn't see any bleed, or not too much at all. Okay, so I'm just gonna, if you can, you can just still do these swirls, but if it starts to feel tacky, you could wait, or you could till it dries and then do another layer, or you can just keep on tapping on like this. If it starts to pull the paint away, then that means you do have to wait for sure, but mine's working out still. So I'm just gonna keep tapping this on. And you can see it's not all the same color. I'm okay with that. Okay. While I have this color on my big brush, I'm going to come and do some of my shamrocks. So there's not too much paint on here. A light layer is what I'm going to do. So I'm just looking at what I did before. I did this one. I did this one with the darker color. Okay, you just keep on swirling, and when you have these really light layers, it dries almost immediately. Okay, Tamara said she took a picture of what she was trying to explain, and she'll send it. Okay, you can add it here. That'd be great, Tamara, if they let you. Okay, so let's come back in. Remember, offload if you have a lot of paint, and then you can just come in and tap on. So I usually like to do the swirl motion the first time, and then I do the tapping for my second one. Okay, I'm going to take a bit of this citron green, and I'll just mix up some right here. All right, wherever you have a spot. So this might be a little light, but let's see. I'm going to offload a bit, find a dry spot, and then you can go ahead and do your, that's a little bit light for what I'm thinking of right now. So we're going to start darker and then we'll come in lighter. But while I have this color on here, I'm going to come to the top of the hat. And I'm just tapping, kind of moving my brush around, just tapping around. It doesn't matter if you get onto those letters because we're going to paint over those anyway. All right, so I'm going to come to the edges. Okay, and that's a little bit dark or brighter than I wanted, so I will fix that in just a second. I'll just add my highlight right here, then go back to just the green, get that on my brush, and I can then blend just by tapping like this. So you get a little bit less of a stark contrast, but usually when it dries, they are fine. Okay, so I can adjust this later if I feel like it, or I can even rub it in with my finger just to have a bit less of a contrast there. Okay, and then I'll take this darker color and just do my other ones, which is still a little lighter than my original dark color. Okay, who's with me? Do you guys think this would be something you'd want to paint or not really? What do you think? Or have you done anything for St. Patrick's Day? I know it's a little early, but I wanted to get on here and show you in case you did want to order it. I'm going to pull off most of this paint. If you wanted to order it, it takes about a week, usually for me at least, but it could be different where you are. So if you like to plan ahead, that's the way to go. All right, and I think we're good with that. I will take a little bit of just the citron, put it right there, take a bit of white, blend those up. Now I have a lighter color even. I'm going to offload. Yes, Donnie, you think it would be fun to paint? Cool. All right, and then just a little bit up here on the top. That's going to give me a bit of a highlight. Here, in case you didn't see what I was talking about, this is what we're painting today. Oops, I went a little too low, so I'm just going to take my finger and do a little bit of finger blending there. And you can see down here it worked out just fine. All right, and then I will just add a bit of that lighter color to all of these shamrocks, just to make it more of a highlight up there. And we can always adjust it later if we need. Okay, what I'm going to do right now, you might, Tanya, that's cool. What I'm going to do right now is just take this brush and I'm going to pull off that excess green paint onto my rag here, and then I'm going to go into my black paint. So if I don't have to wash this off, this is better because I don't want to, if I wash it, then I'm not going to be able to use it. So it has to be a really dry brush. And so I have the black on my brush now. Make sure you offload, which just means pull off some of that paint so you don't have too much paint on your brush. And then just do a very light, look how light it is, okay? You're just going to go in very light circles here. Now you do want to be careful not to go over your shamrocks at this point. So very light layer here. And if you are the kind of person who likes to have your stencils really clean and you're going to reuse them and wash them and everything, if you leave them too long, the paint does dry on, but you can, this personal experience here, rubbing alcohol will help to take that off. Does anybody else have any tricks for pulling off the paint? Let me know. But the easiest way to do it is to take a baby wipe after each color that you add, because that way you are getting it when it's still just applied and you don't have to. So these are turning pretty green here. I guess the green is coming through, but that's an easy fix. I'll add more black, offload a little bit. There's not much paint on there. And now I'll just come in and tap. I got to get a little more paint on there. Hey, Tahisha. Tahisha, nice to see you. Okay, so pulling off that paint, and then I can come back and just do a quick tap for my second layer. Okay, not too much paint either at this point. You don't want it to bleed through, but I don't mind it being a little bit light. I like the look where it's not super solid. I just did one layer, like the 2 layers that I'm showing you for this one. And then I also, you can paint the bridges, like in a stencil, there's little gaps so that the inside of the letters will stay in place. So you can add the lines in there later, and it'll make it look even better. Okay, a little more black paint. So who's got something exciting happening in their life? Let us know. We want to hear the good news. What do you have coming up? Are you going on a trip? Do you have new family members, weddings, babies? Let me know all the good stuff. I like to hear it. Tell us the good news and we'll all celebrate with you. Hello, Susan. How nice to see you. Tell us your good news and we get to celebrate with you, because we like to hear the happy stuff that everybody's getting to experience. Life's too short to be unhappy, right? We might as well try to do our best to live happy lives. All right. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up now, and then we can check this out. Yes, looking good. Okay. At this point, I'm going to go ahead. I could clean this off now, but it would take a while, so I'm not going to do that with you guys all here. I will throw this brush into, looks like I did bleed a little bit there. That's all right. But mostly it's pretty good. You can see the details. Okay, do you see the difference between the 2 sets of letters? If you didn't think about it, you probably wouldn't notice. But if you look at the O in home, you see how I filled it in, those bridges. So that's just an extra little, I like your shamrocks, Susan. So that's just an extra little thing that you can do in order to, what is this? Cats, pets, cats. What do you guys have? Do they get into your, do their hairs get into your paint stuff? I'm sure it happens to everybody who's got pets. Nice to see you, Susan. What's going on? Are we having a good day? Here's what we're painting today, everybody, if you just popped on. Yes, and I have been telling you that I have the Singing in the Rain workshop coming up. You can paint it as a door hanger. You can paint it as a canvas. I'll give you the tracers for those. And you can also paint it with a 3D kit. So check that out. Isn't that fun to have those 3D letters and music notes? Oh, I love it. And you could also paint your umbrellas a different color. What do you think? Do we think we want to paint the colors any differently? Would you do it exactly like mine, or would you do it some way differently? And then if you sign up by the 28th, you will get this cute little bit early bird bonus in your library. So he's our rainy day snail, and not exactly the same color palette, but he's kind of cute and perfect for spring. Your dogs get into everything, Tamara. That's too funny. Oh, wait. All right, here's our second piece of our here's our second piece of our stencil. Let me make sure you can see that. And then same thing, you can grab a little bit of tape if you want. Okay. And then what we're going to do is line this up. So we're going to deal with this part right here next. You want to line that up right at the bottom of your board, and it also lines up on the edges of the hat. All right, so I will just put that in place there. Oh, you know what? I could have used that black for this one. All right, I can show you. Okay, no judging if it doesn't work. Are you guys gonna be nice to me if I do it, if I mess it up? So don't rinse your brush off yet. You're like, we haven't done it yet because we didn't know you were doing this, Karen. So then take a baby wipe or something to pull off that excess water. This is if you didn't have a ton of brushes. So I'm always trying to make it easier for you to have success with your painting. In my club, I try to just do everything step by step, so it's super easy for you to follow. And then you don't. I go through the trials with it just to make sure it's going to work. So I'm just getting that excess out as dry as you can make it. Look at all that paint still in there, right? And then you can just take that black and really offload it. Offload it a couple times if it's a brand. So there's a lot of moisture on there. So I'm still going to actually try to do this. Get a little more of that black paint. We'll just do a super light layer here. Super, super light. Don't overdo it here. Just go really lightly. Okay, very light. We can do another layer and it'll stay in the bounds. And okay, of course we will be nice. Yes, you guys are always nice, Tamara and Donna Jo. We're all learning together. And then I'm going to just come right here under the hat brim. Okay, this is for the hair. So you're probably like, why are we doing this black mix that's actually looking green? Just trust me. We got to have a nice layer of a dark value, a dark color underneath. So value is just the lightness and darkness of a color. And if we don't have any darkness under here, then it's going to be hard to have the hair have layers and texture. See the black under there? Can you see it now? That really helps when you can add that layer of darker value under and makes it super easy. So just get that first layer there, and then I'm gonna just let that dry, but I will go back here and finish up another layer here. Okay, so this will be super easy. So Debbie, hello. She's saying, can we still get this? Yes, you can still get this. This is available from the stencilsmith.com. And I am an affiliate with them. I really love I'm throwing in the water now. I really love their quality of products. They have a very nice thick mylar, so you can reuse this. You can do multiple projects with this, and then you get some good results. Okay, so what did I do with that top one? I moved it over there. All right, so this is, and it's easy to use these. You just have to go step by step. I'm going to let that dry. While that is drying, I will go ahead and put those bridges in, fill in the bridges. So I've got a liner brush. You could use a detail brush. This one's a 3/0. And I'm going to get that wet. Would thicker paint work better when using stencils? Yes, absolutely, Donna. I just kind of grab the deco art or the folk art because it's what I have available. But if you buy the tube paints of like the Liquitex tube paint, those are actually way better than this thinner craft paint. But you can make it work with everything as long as you follow a few little things, like making sure you don't have a wet brush, but you can still make it work, right? All right, so get your liner brush, and then we're just gonna pull through that paint. I'm going to pull and twist so you have a point at the end, and you could use a smaller brush here if you want, and then just come in. I'm going to try to get a little more paint on my brush, and you can just make these bridges. You could use, I guess you could use like a marker, a paint marker, but sometimes the black paint tends to be a little bit of a different color. I just added a bit of water here to thin that out, so I'll get a little longer more longevity on my paintbrush here as far as the paint. The thinner will work well with this because I did kind of a thin layer, right, when I did my letters. And so this is actually going to work for me better. You can see before I could get like one bridge done and then I would have to get more paint. But here I did quite a few just by adding a little bit of water to that paint. And it's not a crucial step. If you don't want to deal with this, you don't have to, but it really doesn't take too long, maybe 3-4 minutes, depending on how many letters. Do you all usually do your bridges or do you skip them? Sometimes a stencil is kind of fun because you don't have to have too much planned out. You can just do it as you're going and just it's less to think about. Although I do try to make it nice for my members by giving you everything you need, giving you the step-by-step directions. Is anybody here in my club? I know a few of you are. Say hi and let us know if you're, go ahead and put AMPC, Artsy Moon Paint Club, if you are one of my members. I appreciate you all hanging out, whether or not you are a member or not. I went a little high there, so now my O is just going to be a little higher. Don't tell anybody, okay? Don't tell anybody. All good. Deborah says AMPC, Tahisha AMPC, Robin, hello, nice to see you all. And Donna says, I've never stenciled. How many brushes would you recommend to purchase? Yeah, like 4 or 6 would be perfect. Then you'd have a variety and you wouldn't have to wash them in between. If you are good with quilting, Donna, Joe, you are going to be great with stenciling because you have to be a little more picky, but not super duper. Okay, Tamara, yay, AMPC, Tanya, nice to see you, and Donna Joe. Judy says, paint pens often run and smear when sealing. I like using paint and concentrating, although it's not my strong suit. Maybe you'd be the same way as me, Judy. We were talking about doing quilting earlier, and I don't have the patience for it, but I know a lot of people do a wonderful job with it, and I'm in awe, honestly. It's nice when we see I'm getting shaky here, but that's okay. Nobody will notice unless I point it out, which I just did. But you're not gonna hold it against me, right? I need a little more water there. It's starting to get thick again. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. It makes it much more fun for me to hang out with you and chat a little bit and just create something fun. Is anybody else painting something else today while they're watching? Or what are you guys all doing today? Okay, so my bridges are done. Hi, Ellen. How nice to see you. All right, it doesn't look much like a gnome right now, does it? Okay, and remember, if you just wanted to do the hat, just skip the bottom part. Don't do the gnome part. You could just do the hat. You can add the buckle and all of that. All right, so let's go ahead and I think I'm going to work on the hair a little bit before we move on to something else. So I'm going to grab my round brush and I'll pour out my other paint. No, I just dropped my paint into the white there. That's another reason, if you're a little klutzy like I am, just grab a baby wipe because they come in so handy, seriously. All right, so I will pour the rest of my paint. I've got my warm beige, or you could use whatever color you want for a skin tone. I've got the carousel pink. Let's see, do I have a spot right there? Looks good. And I've got the canyon orange. And I also have the 24 karat extreme sheen gold. Make sure you give it a good shake because otherwise this thing separates. any of these metallic paints, they usually need to be shaken up really well before you go ahead and do that. Robin says, I'm looking for a religious Easter picture to paint. Are you looking for a stencil or like a painting? I usually do paintings, but every once in a while I want a little brain break, and I like using the stencils just to have a little less, you know, you're still using the same principles to get your lights and darks in there, your highlights, your shadows, but sometimes you don't have to start from scratch. So Kathleen is here. Nice to see you. She's one of our club members. Janet's here. So nice to see you. Here's what we're painting. So now we're going to transform this into this, but we're going to just add one layer here. And I thought I would show you this rake brush. Have you guys, or they call it a wisp brush, W-I-S-P. It's got little, so sometimes people struggle with hair on a gnome, and I usually love just using my liner brush as long as it's fluid paint and you have a lot of it on here. You can really go to town, but I'm going to show you another option in case you want to see this wisp brush. And you're just going to want to get the paint on those little edges, or this rake brush. That's what I always call it. See how it looks like a little rake for the garden rake? Thank you, Crystal. You are so sweet. She says, adorable. You're an awesome instructor. Well, I appreciate your kindness. That is so nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we'll see how I didn't do this earlier. So I'm going to take a little bit of orange and a little bit of black. We'll just mix that up so we have like a dark orange. But if you put too much black in there, immediately it's going to be too dark. Like, so here we can come up here and just pull this down. I don't want to have it super heavy or anything. I want it to be just a very light layer. So it's okay to have this light layer. Try it out if you're trying a rake brush. You can see how I'm just pulling this down. If I wasn't using this, I could just use my round brush to pull down, actually, or my what am I trying to say? My liner brush, and just pull down very lightly. You can just pull down and keep some of that darker color underneath showing. Okay, I'll show you what the liner brush looks like. It doesn't really matter which one you use. You're just not going to have as much paint on your liner brush. Aw, Kathleen says, I agree with Crystal 100%. You guys are rock stars, making me feel so special. So I've got mostly black, a little bit of orange on there. I think really for this part, the rake brush was really a lot easier than the other two. Do you guys have one of these at home? Super easy. I think I got it on Amazon. This one is Royal Langnickel. It's 3/8 inch. So it says Royal BK73 flat wisp. So you could search for that. And it's actually like a plastic. It's not feeling like, well, no, I guess it is. It just so stiff that it felt like a plastic to me, but it's actually a nylon, I think, probably. So ignore what I just said. All right, so we just added a little layer there, okay? And then I'm not going to rinse off my brush. I will just grab some orange on there. And then we want to leave some of that dark under the hat so it'll look like a shadow. So you could even come up from the bottom. I'm going to pull it up even a little higher. So I did not wash my brush. We're just going to come up a bit higher here. We're still going to paint the nose and the hands in this section. So this will be our last layer for right now. And then I'm going to use a liner brush to finish up the hair. You could just paint it orange too, though, if you don't feel like dealing with this. But you know me. Who knows me? You know, I like to make things complicated. But doesn't this look cute when you have the little hairs showing, and it makes it a little prettier? I love pretty stuff. I love making things, painting things and creating things that are pretty, and it makes me feel happier when I can, just show. If I'm giving this as a gift, I want it to be filled with love. I want it to be filled with as nice of a thing as I can. I'm really not being coherent here, but help me out. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you like the pretty stuff? I think you probably do, because otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? Okay, so I'll rinse that off. I don't need that anymore. I'll give this a quick dry. And now I'm going to work on our last part of our stencil. So it's really not very high. It's still just a little tacky there. Come up a bit. All right, so then for this part, you're going to line up, see how these hands are right here? So those are going to line up on the bottom of your round. You can just center them more or less. And then you should have everything lined up perfectly. Just push this down. Let me get a sip of water. Anybody who's just joining, we are having an event. I hope you will join me. It's only $10. You get 3 days of painting with me. $10, and that's it. You get to paint this little guy over 3 days. These little guys, I should say, these cute little chicks. Look how cute they are. We do lots of layering. We do lots of shadows and highlights. I show you how to paint the raindrops and add all those details. If you want, you'll have the option to get a 3D door hanger kit. You can also paint it as a canvas. Let me show you that. So I'm going to pull this off the wall. All right, here's the canvas. Okay, so you can paint it on a canvas. I have mine framed. I did a live a few days ago if you want to check that one out, just to see how I put it into the frame here. Okay, so you can check that out. And then I use the 3M strips to just be able to switch out my paintings seasonally or however I want. Okay, so we have this set up. We're going to do some white on top of where that buckle is. So let's do that one first. Take one of your smaller brushes and let's go right into the white. Okay, so you put it on your brush, you really get it into those bristles, but then you have to offload, otherwise it will get under the stencil. Okay, so if you feel like you still have quite a bit on there, keep on offloading that, and then very lightly, you're just going to come on here. Just come around. And we have to have the white here first because that gold is not going to show up. If it's a metallic, it tends to disappear a bit. You won't get a nice bright gold then. Okay, so nice and light. We'll also come here with this brush and see how much little paint there is on there, but it makes it so like a easy thing to do, to come onto a spot and not worry about bleed. When you have this really dry brush, you can just come on here, get that layer down, and then you can get some more paint on your brush. Okay, so I'll just start in the middle here and get my white going. We'll just put that white all around. I'm going to go into the middle sections here, and then I can use that swirly motion to easily pull that out toward the edges. And this will make it easier to get that color showing up. All right, and I'll put a little more on that buckle part. Let me just tap off a bit there. All right, you can do a little check, make sure it's all good. Looks good. And it doesn't have to be 100% covered up either. I'll just use this brush now to grab some of that citron here. Debbie says, exactly, I love the way it looks when it is done. My favorite is the scarecrow last fall. That's awesome. I'm so glad that you enjoyed that workshop. I can't believe I painted it. It's all because of you. Well, really, honestly, though, it's because you took that opportunity, Debbie, to do something that made you happy. I've got citron on here. You did something for yourself. You know, we don't always do stuff for ourselves as women. We're always like doing stuff for everyone else. I'm not trying to make a blanket statement or anything, but we really do, right? We just try to take care of other people, and that's a great thing. We should do that, but every once in a while, do something for yourself. And if you love it, I'm so happy for you. You could try it out, see if it's something that you enjoy, and if it is, more power to you. And I'm so glad that you're enjoying it, Debbie. That's phenomenal. So I've got a big gap, a big line there. So I'm just taking this light citron just right now. It's a very weak color. It's close to yellow. I'm just getting the edges here for right now. and then I'm going to come and fix this problem here. Okay, so I'm just getting that citron on the edges here just to start. I will take a little bit of that jewel green, I believe it was, and then I'll just come up close to the edge here. So just keep on reloading your brush. Yeah, it's amazing what layers do, really. Like even here, we're adding some layers. Usually we start with the darker rather than the lighter, but I wanted to get that citron on the edge. And I will go all the way to the edge here. I can do my little, look how transparent that is. Even this green is pretty transparent, but where it's over top of the hat, we're getting better coverage. Okay. Yeah, I'm really glad you were able to do that scarecrow, Debbie, because you saw how easy it is with that step-by-step method. Once you use that step-by-step method, you're just making it super easy on yourself. It comes together, and people who have never painted with me before, they're going to be like, what do you mean? I have to have like 2 days of kind of ugly before I get to something cute. You know, it doesn't always come together right away, but you just have to do a little bit at a time. You do one step at a time, and it all comes together in the end. Okay, so I'm going to tap on some more green down here. There we go. Now it's covering it. I'll do it over here. That was the edge of that hat there. You can see now it's covering, but I do want to have that citron on the outside. So I'm going to tap off some of this paint here, grab some citron, and I'll just offload a bit there. And then come right here on the edges. You can just tap that into the edges. If you need to add darker later, you can. We'll just blend it in a bit with that color that's there already. And doing it with the stencil brush makes it very easy. Let's check our shape. Okay, we're pretty good, but see how it's blending in with the hat? So I'm going to get more of that citron. Just the citron, offload a bit. And I can go a little heavier with my paint right now because I have a good base. So we'll add definitely where the hat is behind. I'm going to use my finger to blend in a bit there. That makes it easy too. I want to have that lighter color next to the hat because then we don't have that, we have that contrast of color. And I can even add a little bit of white in here coming up too. But we'll get this blended in. Check it out. See, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to wipe off my paintbrush on the rag. Take some white on my brush. I haven't washed it right. We just are, that's a lot of paint on there, so get a little bit of it off, and then you can just come back to the edges here. Before you leave a part of the shamrock, just finger tap it in there. I think it's not blending super well, so I might have to come back in with a little citron, but we'll just see. We'll just take a little try at it and see what happens. Yeah, I think I'm going to definitely come in with the citron again because this white, it's okay, but I don't love it. All right, so citron, offload your brush or tap it onto your rag, and then we'll just come and make some brighter sections here. I'm going to, even if it seems like it's really covering really well, then just take your finger and tap it in or pull off some of that paint. I don't know. I feel like I'm making a mess here, but we're going to keep going with it and see. Let's take a look. Not bad, not bad. Maybe just a little more of the green right in the middle. We'll just take some of that green and come up a bit to each of those sections. All right, and I think that's okay for now. We'll see. I don't really love this part right here. I'm going to come up a bit higher. Play with it until you're happy when you're doing it and see where it goes. Okay. All right, let's do our gold. So I'm going to switch my brushes. I've got another little one here. I'm going to go right into that gold. It's very sheer, the gold, so it will be pretty liquidy. So make sure you offload, and you're probably going to need a couple layers here. So I'm just going to do a couple light layers. Yeah, the paint's hardly showing up. but I don't want to put too much on at once, otherwise then you have to deal with the bleeding. Let's see. It's looking better. We just need to let it dry slightly. Okay, make sure your stencil is right next to the wood. Okay, a little bit of bleed there. It's okay though. All right, that's okay. I think that looks good. And you can also come in and fill in your bridges too. Probably should do that with a different brush, but I'll just give it a quick little layer there. All right, and now we can all just use the same brush. We're going to add, so when you're doing the nose and the hands, pick whatever skin tone you want. You can pick it darker, middle tone, light skin color, whatever you want to do. They're all going to work great. I'm going to grab a little bit of burnt umber. Mine's pretty dry over there. And I'm going for darker on the bottom and lighter kind of right here toward the top. So I'm going to start with my burnt umber on my brush. All right, offload. You can do layers here and just tap it in on the bottom. And come up all the way around there. I might actually go all the way around. I think that'll be easier. Get into a lighter. This one's my warm beige. Tapping that on, and if you want to finger blend it, you can. And then I'm going to wipe that off on my rag, grab a bit of white paint, and just kind of swirl it in the middle there. And I'm just coming toward the edges. I'm going to take just a tiny hint of pink on my brush. Does anybody here struggle with doing skin tones? Let me know. This might be too wet now to keep on going, so I'm going to let that dry. Here's what the nose looks like so far. Okay, and I'll just take this color and put it onto the hands and then use a little more of the other colors. Right now it's very pink. If you've ever done skin tones, let me know. I've got a blog all about how to do skin tones, so you might find that useful. There's a video attached with that. Just added a bit of burnt umber here because right now it's very pink. But just, you can try to find a color that matches, but it's easier if you kind of know what colors work together and what is going to give you the result that you want. Let me do a little more of that warm beige. It always dries a bit darker too, so FYI. Okay. I think we're good with that. Let's leave that for right now, and then we will come back and I can do some highlights on these as well. Okay, so I've got this. Do I need it anymore? I'm trying to think. I think I'm done with this brush. So what did I use? I used 3 brushes, and I used a rake brush, I used a round, a flat, and also my liner brush. So you could still try to use that rake brush for the hair, but here's what I like to do. Did I just get paint all over my head? I don't know, I might have. Okay, so what we're gonna do is just take our brush, we're gonna get a little wet, put a little bit of that dirty paint water there, that's fine, and then you're gonna dip into that orange. And just, you don't want it to be super, super thin, but you want it to be workable. Okay, so, but when I pull this, I can get a nice loose stroke. Okay, that's what you're going for. And you're going to take your liner brush and you're going to put it in and you're going to pull and twist. So you've got a pretty good point there and it's going to give you some nice results. So then you can just take this and pull it, but you got to keep on reloading. So you could have the hair going over the hands, or you could just have it staying in its section. And you're not, if you go all the way up to the top, that's fine. Just leave some of that black showing. can't see what you are working on since you're talking is showing up there. Okay, thank you, Debbie. Let me put this up a little bit higher. I could zoom in for this too. Let me try to do that. Okay. I hope that helps a little bit. So I'm going to just, but you can't see what I'm doing with the brush, but let me show you. So maybe this just needs to be a little thicker. So I've got it watered down. I want to be able to pull and then make these nice strokes. So you got to keep on reloading, and then you can just come in and make these strokes, but keep on reloading. And I'm just pushing and kind of flicking it as I let go. And I'm not going to cover up everything behind. I want to have those darker colors in there, those darker values, so that it's going to look more realistic for a gnome. I should say, right? Okay, so it's a gnome. It's not going to be hyper realistic or anything, but we're just, doing the best we can and having fun and making this look as cute as possible. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little white. So pull in some white, and we're going to mix that up. That's going to lighten this up. Pull and twist. We're creating some lighter layers now. And we're just doing the odd little hair here and there. And we can keep on lightening it up until we're happy with it. But you have to do quite a few of these little hairs to make them look a bit more like real hair. You just do the odd one here and there, it's not going to work quite as well. Who struggles with this? Do you feel like it works out well for you, or do you feel like this is an area that you needed assistance with? You could always use that rake brush. Try out the rake brush if you want. I'm going to take a little more white, pull more white, pull and twist my brush. Oh, sorry, you didn't see that. Added more white, pull and twist my brush. And then we'll just keep on adding. Now we're getting lighter. We start to see the color coming through. If you push really hard like that, it's not the end of the world. You can always come back. So those are a little heavy. I'll show you how you can just adjust that with a darker color again. You can go back to one step to the orange before that you mixed up and just thin them out a bit. Okay, so I can just go right to that orange and just come alongside. Actually, I like that orange in there just by itself. That's kind of nice too. Okay, so I think that's pretty good for the hair. I think that's gonna do it. I'm gonna zoom back out if I can make it. There we go. Just a little more. Too much. Okay, well, that's gonna do it. Okay, then I'm just gonna do a little highlight here and there. Let's see. So we'll do some highlights and some shadows, and then we'll probably call it. So for the nose, if I just want to grab my round brush, I can come in and tap on some, I don't know what's on that brush. Let me see. Yeah, there's some nice burnt umber I just added there. I'm going to really make sure that's clean. I still have green in there too, apparently. And then take a bit of pink and white and beige. Make sure it's a little lighter than what you're seeing. Not too much paint on the brush. You can wipe them off, and then just come right here to the middle part and add that color there just to get a highlight. Okay, so I think I'm going to just tap it on instead of trying to rub it in. Get a bit of a highlight there, a little bit here. I think I need more paint on my brush. It's very dry. We'll just add a bit here, a little bit here. It's looking better where I'm seeing it. rather than what you guys see on the screen. So I think I just made a little mistake there. I'm going to grab a little more burnt umber, just come to the bottom here. Make sure it goes all the way to the bottom of that nose because we want that shadow right under there. Okay, so now it's not blended enough, so now I'll take a little more beige. Too much. Let me come in. You might do something and then you're like, oh my gosh, I just wrecked it. But you know, every time you do something like that, you can fix it, you can make it work. So never feel like it's over and done with. You can always make it work. Okay. I think that's fine, except I feel like it needs a little highlight. I think I'll add some white highlights and then I'll show you how I'm going to make it look even better. So take your brush, your liner brush, put it into your water, water down your white paint slightly. So pull and twist, and then you can just come up. Let's start on the hat and we'll just come around. So I'm just going to come right here and pull until I run out of paint. The liner brush can hold a lot. And get more paint there. We'll do some little curves here as well. So think about where it's going. You just have to think about where you're going to end up when you do those liner brush marks or paint strokes. Does not have to be 100% covered or just the way I'm doing it. Just see what happens when you paint yours. Right. And we'll just put a little bit, a couple lines there. We'll bring this down here. We'll put a line at the top here. A curve here. And just keep on pulling across that way. Pull and twist your brush. And we'll do a curve up here at the top of the nose, the top of the hands. Okay. It's pretty good. If you felt like you lost all of the dark under here, I'll just give you a quick tip on what to do. Hey Maureen, I just decided to go on live. If you are worried about missing my lives, make sure that you are following Over the Artsy Moon, and then you can also change the settings when you're on my page Over the Artsy Moon. At the top right, there are 3 little sideways dots. You can click that and change it to see all the notifications instead of just the highlights. All right, sometimes that Facebook automatically just gives you the highlights of somebody you're following. So follow me if you'd like. I would really appreciate it. And then also make sure that you are getting all of the notifications. Okay, so you see here I've got a little bit of black under there. And also I put a little bit of extra black under here. So I'll show you how to do that too. Grab your water, mix in a little water with your black paint, pull and twist. And then you can come right at the bottom here. Right at the bottom of that green, just come straight across. Stop before you go across the nose. Come back over here on this side. Come straight across there. Right, that just adds a little bit. Pull and twist. And then this will be available on replay. Facebook is changing the time that replays are available, so you'll still be able to see this for 30 days. And then if I will also, I'm streaming to YouTube right now, so it should be fine. If you're in the club, I'll put the link in there as well for YouTube, so you guys can get it that way. All right. I just got a little dot of black there. Let me fix that real quick. I'm just going to see what color is that. Sort of like a bit of, I mean, it's very little, but I see it, so it's bothering me. Okay, so if you are interested in painting this, you can get the stencil from the stencilsmith.com, and they have Beautiful stencils, very good quality. I'm just going to take a little gold here. Very good quality. They are USA company, so you'll be supporting a local small business, and you'll be dealing with very nice people. And I do get a little, a tiny little cut if you buy the stencils, but so you don't have to do this. You could just get some ideas from this if you want. I think I need to add a little more, but I'll do that later. So this is our little guy. Here's the original that I painted earlier. Oh, do you think I should make his beard a little redder? What do you think? A little redder, which means adding more orange, maybe just a little more. Just go straight up orange and add a bit more. Kind of like it a little brighter. And then if you are able to join me at my workshop coming up, that is going to be, it's called Puddles and Paint. And if you need the information about that, you'll see it on my page, but I can also just put link in the comments and I can get you that information as well. All right. So happy painting, everybody. Thank you so much if you were able to hang out with me for a little bit of the time today. It was great to see you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a fantastic weekend. All right. Bye, everybody.